The best division-changing move in the AFC West to you was?
Oh, it was the Raiders bringing on Pete Carroll. I think it just changes their whole perception of the franchise and the culture. Having a guy that's won a Super Bowl now leading them, and they should have some competency in terms of what they look like both off the field and on the field. Bringing Geno in there, a legit quarterback, is going to improve what they do on offense. So I think that was kind of the biggest move of the four teams.
Gilbert?
Yeah, it has to be Raiders involved in this question because I feel like the Chiefs did a lot of small moves because their roster and their core is already built. Broncos to an extent, and it's a lot of draft players too that could be impactful, but we just don't know how they're going to perform come Sundays. So I'm gonna pick it back off of Eric, but I'll take it a step further. I don't feel good about this because I'm not a big Geno Smith, supporter. I guess would be the right word to say here. But yes, Pete Carroll would definitely change the culture there in Las Vegas. But in terms of playing on the field, being impactful, I think Geno Smith could help. Go from a 4-win team to a 7 or 8 or 9-win team. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They'll probably be one and done if they get to the playoffs. But in terms of a player move, it has to be Geno Smith. I don't like that they paid him. I don't like that the Raiders are stuck in the middle in this cycle here. The Sam Darnold. You guys know me. I hate mediocre quarterbacks. The Derek Carr effect. You get stuck in that cycle, and then you never get a franchise quarterback because you're never picking top 5, top 10. Whatever, Raiders, do what you got to do, but you are going to be competitive. So in terms of that sense, Geno Smith's the answer for me.
Vic?
I was gonna just add to that. I mean, both of you guys have good ones there, and just to kind of go off of history now for the past 2 years, you look at teams that have had a new coach and then brought in either a rookie quarterback or a veteran quarterback. They made the playoffs. Whether you look at the Commanders last year with their new coach and their quarterback, and then the Texans the year before that. So things are well set up for the Raiders. Now can they put it on the field? So I'm with you guys. But mine, just because I didn't want to keep this Raiders heavy, I went with the Chiefs. I'll be the Chiefs homer this week. And fixing their offensive line, kind of retooling it with Jalen Moore. I thought they were a big benefit of the cap going up and being able to keep some of their guys along that offensive line. I know they traded Joe Thuney, but they needed to kind of they needed to retool that offensive line, especially after what we saw in the Super Bowl. So for me, I thought them retooling their offensive line was a big move.
I'll add to that, Vic, as I agree with that too. What is Blue Dream saying?
After all that football hibernating, moving, and getting used to the new Compa schedule, I still can't get over Gilberto's.
Hey, we got also Eric with the Rainier.
Oh, look at him trying to throw him under the bus.
Washington representing here, okay?
You're the only one without a hat, Fernando.
I'm going to say Blue Dream is a Ducks fan. I forget, but somebody here is a Ducks fan. But I know it is random that I'm wearing a Kraken hat. I don't give a crap about hockey. I don't know hockey. I don't know offsides. I don't know penalty boxes, but I like the hat. So deal with it. And then, speaking of Chiefs supporters, as you know, guys, I do tend to support the Chiefs here on this program here. But I do worry about the O-line because how much was Joe Thuney the glue of the offensive line? When he went from guard to left tackle, he was holding it down, and he saved their season pretty much there. So with Thuney gone, is Trey Smith a legit dude? There you go. I knew it, Blue Dream. Quack, quack. But yeah, is Trey Smith that guy, or was Joe Thuney and Creed Humphreys helping him out? Is Jalen Moore just a backup, or is he kind of like Joe Noteboom, where he was filling in for Whitworth and they still paid the guy, not being a full-time player? So I'm always going to give Brett Beach the benefit of the doubt, but some of these O-line moves I'm kind of a little hesitant about, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt.
So obviously, I don't want to sound like a homer here, but I couldn't go with the Broncos. You guys know my feelings on the Broncos. They kept 80% of their team. They brought in 2 injury-riddled guys. I thought their draft pick, though, of the kid out of Texas, that cornerback, I thought that was lethal. But I think this is one of the reasons why the Chargers went and got Omari and Hampton is like, if you guys are going to stop our receivers, then we're just going to run the football on you. So I think Najee Harris and the addition of Najee Harris and the draft pick of Omari and Hampton, that's exactly what Jim Harbaugh wants. He wants 2 thumpers, 2 guys that are going to be able to tire out opposing defenses. Last year, when they came in, obviously, and Gilbert and And Eric, Joe told us, I mean, essentially, cap struck. You come in and you're not able to do as much as you can. Now you're able to have the freedom to do more with more cap space. They went out, they got 2 running backs that now I feel like are going to help them implement more of their style of offense, and I have to think that those 2 additions are definitely going to help this team, especially like you said, you kind of take the pressure off of Justin Herbert and let him be the guy that that he knows. I mean, you pick and choose your spots, but this is like in Varsity Blues, this is a running team. We are a running team. So that's exactly what this team is going to be. So yeah, I kind of went with that route.
Well, maybe Eric could play center.
That's not going to be good for anybody. I haven't played center since like 2nd, 3rd grade, man.
Or left guard. There's 2 openings there.
No, I agree with that. Hey, I've been critical of the whole offensive line, especially because if you're just going to send out Zion Johnson and Bradley Bozeman back out there, then what the hell was everything? Like, then you really didn't watch that Houston game to see exactly what your deficiencies were. But June 1st is coming up. I know that obviously they pay attention to the comp picks and everything. After June 1st, they're able to go get guys. Brandon Sheriff is still out there. There's other guys that will still be out there. I think they could bring in somebody in or something, because that offense, you can't go with the same offensive line and just say, oh yeah, we just added Mekhi Becton. Then Rashawn Slater didn't show up today to OTA, so he wants a new contract. So there's that. But what were you gonna say, Eric, about it?
I was going to say, I thought a couple big additions were the kid out of Ole Miss, Harris, and bringing Mike Williams back. Having 2 legit X receivers on the outside, big targets. We know Justin likes to throw to bigger targets. He's comfortable doing that, to create some balance with the additions of, like you mentioned, Harris and Hampton in the backfield, to have those 2 targets on the perimeter along with Ladd and what he can do in the middle of the field should open things up for Herbert and allow him to be more dynamic and explosive in terms of the passing game.
Well, and if Quentin is your 4th or 5th receiver, I mean, that's 700 and Dan always yells at me for this, but 750 yards last year, 8 touchdowns. Like, he was a contributor. I know towards the back end of the season, he wasn't contributing as much as he did in the front end. But I mean, if he's your 4th or 5th receiver, that's still like, that's not bad. I mean, especially with some of the strides that he made last year, he did make some differences at times. I know he had that 180 game against the Raiders, and then the next week he had 0 against the Texans. But I still think that he's going into his 3rd year. I still think he's gonna make some positive strides this year. And I mean, now having real competition around him is only gonna either make you or break you, essentially.
Yeah, I think the last thing you just said, Fernando, competition. They're going to have better depth at that position, and they're not going to have to rely on Q to go out there and have a 1,000-yard season. We know Mike Williams is probably going to miss some games, so it's going to be important that Q's going to have to play. Harris is going to have to play. This Keandre Lambert is probably going to have to play. So you're going to have to rely
about
on
him too.
Oh, he's a player. If you go back and watch this film, I mean, he's going to contribute. So I like their depth 1 through 6. I think it's probably the most depth they've had. You can go back to maybe their first couple years when they were in Los Angeles, and they had Tyrell Williams still on the roster.
That was, and you remember that in that 18 year, Hunter Henry tears the ACL. If not, they would have had a really complete team going into that year. But yeah, no, I completely agree.